This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Kickstart summer at Lowe's with Memorial Day savings on major appliances like the smart Whirlpool top-load washer featuring the 2-in-1 removable agitator in a color you'll only find at Lowe's. Take it out for bulky items, leave it in for a more thorough clean. You can customize any load, plus skip steps with the Load and Go dispenser. Simply add detergent once and skip the refills. Memorial Day savings start now at Lowe's. Shop in-store or online today.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your wages are being garnished. We can stop that now. It's hard enough to pay your bills when things are good, let alone when a big chunk of your take-home pay is gone before you even get your check. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne, and I can stop the garnishment and get the creditors off your back immediately, often the same day as our consultation. Both Chapter 7 and 13 provide bankruptcy relief, but choosing the right chapter is crucial. In a free consultation, we can create a plan to get your finances back under your control. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle, an Odyssey station. And if you've got that Odyssey app, then not only do you get to hear us, but you get a lot of Odyssey exclusive stations that are curated for listeners just like you.
Check out the Tailgate Rock Station. Maybe you want to tailgate before a Kraken game or a Seahawks game as well. Hopefully things will get better. But if you want to have some good music that makes you ready to rock, Tailgate Rock is the station to go to. Or if you're a fan of the power ballads, check out the Lighters in the Air station.
And there's plenty more, too, man. Download the Odyssey app today to get all the audio that matters to you. That's AUDACY Odyssey.
Let's play B-Migs. It's time to play the game. Yeah. So everybody scream his name. B-Migs. Don't be a loser. Whoa. B-Migs. You're a loser.
It is time to be Migs, and it's time to pump it up for Monday. Oh, yeah. Pump it up. We need it. We really do need it. I don't know about you, but I'm pumped up after that Kraken game.
That's right. Go Crack.
Go Kraken!
What was John Forrest calling it? The Kraken Nation.
Yeah!
So I don't know if that's going to be like the term. I was like, yeah, I guess crackheads is probably not what he wants to throw out there. Kraken Nation. I'm okay with that.
I feel like it's got to be because Todd Lywicki joined him a part of that broadcast yesterday, and I feel like Todd would have said something to him like, that's not what we're going to call the people there, Johnny.
Wouldn't that have been great if he said Kraken Nation and Todd Lywicki's like, John, it's the crackheads.
What are you doing, John?
I was so pumped up after that game. Like, they were talking about how the Kent preseason game still had tickets available. I almost dropped the money on going to the preseason game.
They must be marked up tickets because, I mean, they were sold out at one point unless they're like...
They must have opened something else up because I went to ShowWare and I almost dropped $400. And then I was like, wait, I couldn't pull the trigger. I had to,
It's a lot of money for a preseason game.
Exactly. Yeah. And we already got some games coming up. Super excited to go see those. Very excited, very pumped up, but we need to get to our contestant today. We got Chris on the old I-90. Chris, are you there?
I'm here.
Excellent. All right, Steve, get out of here. For those playing at home, Chris will have 60 seconds to answer 10 questions. Chris, you can pass all you want, but you will only get 3 guesses per question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Which actor co-stars alongside Will Ferrell in the 2017 comedy Daddy's Home?
Mark Wahlberg.
Yes. What is the calm center part of a hurricane called?
The eye.
Yes. The Raptors are an NBA team located in which city?
Oh, pass.
Which of the Jonas Brothers did Taylor Swift date?
Nick?
No.
Pass.
Which Disney film has a character named Prince Charming?
Prince Charming? Snow White?
No.
Pass.
Which actress plays Pepper Potts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
One more time.
Which actress plays Pepper Potts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Pass.
What is the largest populated city in the Netherlands?
I don't even know.
yeah. Jump that way.
Well, and that'll be all.
Yep.
That'll be all for Chris.
Chris started so well.
Yep.
Dropped the deuce
and dropped the F-bomb, too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So, congrats to him. I guess he's a little pumped up on the old Monday, too.
Yeah, it's, and again, that's the use of the F-bomb that really is probably the most benign.
When people are trying to think and they're searching their brains, sometimes a little bad word will slip out.
Oh, he missed,
and it was actually the big bad word.
The big bad word. Oh, wait, that was Tom Brady that was playing?
Nice. Oh, my goodness. Steve, are you ready? Which actor co-stars alongside Will Ferrell in the 2017 comedy Daddy's Home?
Oh, man. Is that Kevin Hart?
No.
I don't know. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
Steve Carell.
No. What is the calm center
Mark
part?
Wahlberg?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
What is the calm center part of a hurricane called?
The eye.
Yes. The Raptors are an NBA team from which city?
Toronto.
Yes. Which of the Jonas
actually, that's a
brothers did
province.
Taylor Swift date?
Joe?
Yeah. How do you know that?
I don't. That's the only Jonas I know.
Which Disney film has a character named Prince Charming?
Sleeping Beauty.
No.
Snow White.
No.
Aladdin.
No. Which actress plays Pepper Potts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
That Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yes. Nice. What is the largest populated city in the Netherlands?
Netherlands City.
No.
Take me down. Ohio.
No.
Toledo.
No. In which movie did the singer Meatloaf play the character Eddie?
Fight Club.
No, that was Bob. 1, 2, 3, 4 correct. Steve, you win 4 to deuce.
Yeah, it could have been better, but the F-bomb did him in.
Well, I mean, yeah, he started with 2 correct and then dropped 5 and then dropped the F-bomb and we had to let him go.
That's it.
Simply the best.
Thank you. Is he simply the best?
Today I am. Right now. You figured out Mark Wahlberg eventually.
I did what the Seahawks can't do.
Oh, wow. Okay. Fair enough.
Win's a win.
That's right.
Fair enough.
Does anybody know the Disney film that had the character Prince Charming?
Vicky does.
Sleeping Beauty.
No.
No?
Cinderella.
Cinderella.
It was Cinderella.
Yeah.
It was Philippe in
Yep.
Sleeping Beauty.
Yep, Prince Philip.
Those are like the three. Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, and Cinderella are like the three that I just never want to see.
Yeah.
Never?
But I'm so worried that I'm going to have to.
You're going to
with my
have
daughter.
to. I mean, you have a daughter, princess.
I'll tell you right now, she's into Coco Melon.
Better or worse?
I can confidently say that you will not like any of the three.
No, I'm positive. I'm absolutely positive. I just hope it's a one and doneer and not like, Daddy, let's watch Cinderella again.
Oh, if they get hooked on them, you will watch them forever. This is why I know Aladdin and the Lion King backwards and forwards.
But those are good ones.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, those big three are like old school. You know, they are
the OGs.
heyday.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder though, because like Lily never got into the old ones. Like she saw them, but then like she likes like the Tangled and the Frozen and
Tangled was good,
Moana,
too,
like all the newer ones.
I'm good with Moana so far.
Yeah.
I feel like Frozen you're going to hate. Tangled I think you may be okay with.
All right, yeah. I've Frozen's been on.
It's been on.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting at the couch and it was on in front of me. Was I paying attention to it? No, I just stared aimlessly at the screen.
Oh, it's like phone time or anything like that. Okay, yeah, perfect. The largest populated city in the Netherlands?
I don't know.
Oh, Amsterdam.
Oh, duh.
Oh, I forget that's Netherlands.
Yeah. And then this might be a tough one for everyone on this. I don't know if anyone will get this one. In which movie did the singer Meatloaf play the character Eddie?
Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh, yeah, Vicky got it.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know he was in that.
Yeah, he was.
On a
He played-
motorcycle and everything.
Yeah, he plays Eddie, and spoiler alert,
He plays Eddie.
He becomes dinner. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
Wow.
Yeah, like you're going to ever go see it? Go down to the Blue Mouse when they go play it? Because they still do that down in Tacoma.
Nope, not a chance.
Do the live shows, get you dressed up like Frankenfurter there. Congratulations on your win.
Good job, Stevie.
Thank you.
Someone on Reddit just asked people to name things that can immediately drop someone from a 10 all the way down to a 5. And this is when we're talking about attractiveness.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think. You know what it would be? If someone's rude to a waiter, it's an old saying, like not saying, but it's like one of those ones that everyone always brings up. Like if someone's rude to the waiter or waitress, and you get an idea of like how they are treating people when they're not on their best behavior. And I do believe in that. Like if you're not going to tip well or treat somebody well, that does nothing for you in the long run. I think that's a good indicator that this person's not someone to be around, and they would definitely be less attractive because of that.
That is on the list.
I did not have a second date with a guy because he left $0 for a tip.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with the meal.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to impress anybody when, in fact, it's obvious that you didn't leave a tip. I just, especially you don't know who you're sitting across, like if they've ever been a server in their entire life. How do you not just, I would leave a tip just to go, I don't know much about this person, but I don't want them to think I'm a cheapskate.
I feel like the odds are probably in your favor that person you're dating at some point was in the service industry. Most people have at some point cut their teeth in the service industry.
I'll tell you, there's one thing on this list that is me.
Uh-oh.
Again, this is what would drop, not that I started at 10, but this would drop me way down. And I wonder if you guys can guess.
Serial Killer Eyes.
Serial Killer Eyes, which of course is the great song by Kim Wilde, whatever her name was, Betty Kim Wilde. Oh yeah, Kim Wilde. So she did Betty Davis Eyes.
Only ever wants to play board games on dates.
Oh.
No, that's not it, Danny.
Oh.
Loves professional wrestling.
Wow. That would be somebody on this show, but it is not me. So,
not you?
Yeah, hard to believe. Yeah, I don't know if you'll get it, but as soon as I tell you, you'll go, oh yeah, that's you. And I'm very much trying to work on this. I still do it from time to time, and my friends just always tell me, dude, knock it off. And it's constantly talking over people.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough for me, man.
Nobody's like, no, BJ, you're not enough. Yeah, totally.
You know, what I do for a living and where I come from, you just dead air, dead space. My brain goes, you got to fill it with something. And so if someone's just taking a breath, but they're not done with their thought, I'm like, oh my God, it's dead air. I better say something. And I have to retrain myself. And in the Boston area, you had to talk over people. It was the only way you'd ever get to talk.
That's how it was growing up in my household. Like you just jumped in as soon as you got a window of opportunity. You had to just get right in there. And I remember it was one time when I first started hanging out with D. Ted Smith many, many years ago when I first started working at KSW. We were doing something. We were hanging out drinking. And I remember I cut him off and he point blank just said, he's like, can I finish my story? And I was like, oh, my bad. That's just what we do. I didn't even think about that. And ever since then, that was always in the back of my mind. It kind of changed the way that I looked at conversations because nobody wants to be cut off. And it is rude if like someone has a thought or is trying to finish a story and then you're just like whoosh, shutting them down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for you and I, Steve, I don't think you realize that it's just it was just the area we were raised in. So yeah, I think you've done a better job getting rid of it out of your life than I have. I still, I go, oh, damn it, I did it again. And luckily, my friends at least feel, like they feel comfortable enough to be able to go, hey, dude, I'm not done. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I got to keep working on that.
But it's like on the flip side, I always hated it growing up when it would happen to me. So I was like, I remember being so mad, like still to this day when my mom does it to me all the time. And my wife laughs at me every time. She's like, when are you going to let this go? My mom will cut me off and then I'm out. I tap out of the conversation. The rest of the time, I'm like, it's you and my wife. Go ahead and talk. And like everything I give is one-word answers. Like I become a 12-year-old.
Oh, you start pouting hard,
hard. And my wife laughs at me the entire time, which makes it even worse for me in my head because I'm like, you're right. I should not let that bother me. But man, it just gets under my skin.
Yeah.
So ask me a question and then answer it for me. My mom, not my wife. Like,
well, that drives me nuts.
My mom does that too.
It's like, how was your day? I heard it was not that great in Seattle. I'm like, well, I didn't even have a chance to say how my day was.
I can hear you freaking out now.
See, I used to be like that with my dad because he would always do it. And then I realized, like, I do it a lot because of having ADHD. And then I'm learning how to kind of wheel that back. And now that I've learned my what triggers me, why I do the things I do, I realize my dad also has ADHD. So I have to, like, really realize, okay, he's not doing it on purpose to be a jerk. He's just absent-minded like I am.
One texter said, how about toe thumbs? Like Megan Fox's toe thumbs. That would make her look.
Yeah, I know that was a problem for a lot of people. That's not on the list. Arrogance is on there, entitlement, littering.
Don't you know who I am?
Oh, if somebody pulls that, I'm out.
That's so funny. You know what? And especially in our current climate, is just like anyone who just wants to talk any kind of, like, the first thing you sit down at lunch, they want to talk politics. Or anything like religion or something like that. It's like, okay, can we just have a normal conversation?
Oh,
like,
Danny, that's on the list.
Go down there.
I mean, I
That
could
is on
even
the
throw like
list.
COVID into that as well.
Oh, yeah. It's like whatever side you're on. It's like, I don't want to talk about this.
Well, in COVID, Steve, is really politics. It's just hidden, that really is what COVID is. It always degrades into, you're in one camp or the other camp when it comes to that.
But it's just, I mean, you just hit a point where you're just like, can't we just talk about like hockey or anything other than these things? And those used to be the no-nos, not COVID, obviously something new in this world, but like, there were the no-nos of conversations. Like you were like, you need to bring up like, religion or politics into a conversation if not everybody's on board with what you think. Even if you are on board with what you think, it's like, how is that even a fun conversation?
You're absolutely right, and I've got to catch myself on that as well because you're right. It's just and who really wants to hear this?
Oh, I wonder if this one. I'm sorry, this one made the list. A lot of people are texting. Smoking takes a number. That'll take a number 1 down to a number 10.
Wow, that's not on the list, but I can understand.
Number 1. Sorry,
I was tracking.
My bad.
If you're
totally
smoking,
what
you go
said.
all the way up to a 10.
The texter said it right. I corrected it for them because I was looking out for the best interest of that texter, only to make it sound more stupid.
You know what? You did a good job. Smoking not on the list, but poor hygiene is on the list. So you look good, but you smell bad. And Steve, this is sort of like the Ashton Kutcher, Mia Kunis thing because they said they don't bathe, and so would that be the case where you guys are hot, but I don't know how you smell.
Dude, they had a TikTok the other day, Mila and Ashton, and it was them like bathing, like their kids were in the shower like singing, and Ashton goes, "What are you doing, babe? You're not supposed to wash them. They're gonna melt." And it was the funniest because they're just like calling out everyone for saying they don't shower.
Awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Somebody texted someone who doesn't put away their shopping cart.
It's a good meme test right now.
That's on the list, and it is so surprising that it is on the list. Leaving your shopping cart in the middle of the parking lot, and as this texter proves, there are people that are super passionate about this. Like and I don't like it when it's in a space. When I'm pulling my car in and I have to now get out of the car in the middle and there's no way I can get in this space if I don't get this cart out of the way. That irritates the crap out of me. It's like, what are you doing?
It blows me away because granted, not every parking lot, but most parking lots, it's like within 20 feet there is a drop-off spot.
Totally.
And I'll see some of these shopping carts in those kind of parking lots where it's just like, what level of lazy are you at that you just finished loading up your car and you're just like, F it, I'm just going to leave it right here.
Dude, some people just do not care.
I don't care.
I had to do the pickup for QFC groceries recently, and this guy was parked in the pickup spot. He was not getting grocery pickup. He went and shopped, came back, put all his groceries away, then left his cart in the spot so I couldn't pull in. And I was like, I want to fight you. Like, I want to hurt you physically because you are so rude.
Yeah, it is. It is unbelievable where people are just in their own world and go, wait, you mean there are other people? People are using this grocery store, but me?
It blows my mind, like such a massive inconvenience that you have to move this shopping cart somewhere that really doesn't take that long at all.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. What do you think is tougher, moving a shopping cart or moving the football up the field?
Oh, jeez.
Hey, how about that for a segue, huh?
Or stopping a pass.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we've been putting off the inevitable, but it must be talked about. What the hell happened yesterday in Minnesota? Well, we're going to find out. Is it panic time? Mitch Levy from Mitch Unfiltered will be with us. He will tell us whether we should get off the ship or if everything's going to be okay. We'll be talking to Mitch at 7:20 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Kickstart summer at Lowe's with Memorial Day savings on major appliances like the smart Whirlpool top-load washer featuring the 2-in-1 removable agitator in a color you'll only find at Lowe's. Take it out for bulky items, leave it in for a more thorough clean. You can customize any load, plus skip steps with the Load and Go dispenser. Simply add detergent once and skip the refills. Memorial Day savings start now at Lowe's. Shop in-store or online today.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.
$20 million, $19 million, $6 million. These are all awards recovered for clients of Phillips Law Firm. To win big, you have to fight big. And Phillips Law has been fighting the too-big-to-fail insurance industry for decades. Not every case will have a multi-million-dollar outcome, but Phillips Law will fight just as hard to recover the outcome you deserve. If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or on the job, call or click today at 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle.
BJ, we always love having our next guest on, but we've decided, last time we said we'd stop talking after the second quarter. This time, first quarter, or how about we just change this to a Kraken segment? No more Hawks. All about the Kraken with Mitch Levy.
If I only knew anything about the Kraken, if I only knew a little bit about NHL, could you please explain the icing penalty to me? Let's start right there.
First of all, it's not a penalty. It's just a way to stop play.
Yeah. Okay.
Really, all you need to know is that one team needs to score more goals than the other team, and then now you know hockey. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. And very often both teams end up with the same amount of goals, right? And then we walk out of the arena with a tie, correct?
Well, you know they end games in shootouts.
Okay, shootouts now.
But you can get a point for losing in the shootout. It's okay. Maybe hockey's a little more complex than I realized. It's not as simple as I try to make it out to be, but it's a lot of, hey, you're going to be able to be part of many people who never experienced hockey before in the Northwest that are now falling in love with the sport.
Yeah, and Mitch
we're freaking out, BJ. We're freaking out on Mitch Unfiltered because we don't know anything about hockey, and our fans want to know, and our listeners, I shouldn't call them fans because nobody's really a fan of Mitch Unfiltered. They're listeners of Mitch Unfiltered. We learned that a long time ago. They want hockey. So maybe can we borrow Steve? Can we borrow Mitch to be our hockey expert?
Let me know.
You need to, because right now, Mitch, you and I are on the same. We are even keel when it comes to this hockey knowledge. Unlike you,
have no excuse. You have no excuse. You grew up around the Boston Bruins. I grew up in Florida in the 70s and 80s when we didn't have. Not only did we not have hockey. On the local news, true story, on the local news, they didn't even give scores. It was like hockey did not even exist in Florida in the 1970s and 80s. But you were around the famous Boston Bruins team.
How about Mitch? Here I am trying to at least have some commonality. Tell the guy that we're basically mano a mano. And what is he going? Oh no, I'm going to shame you. You shouldn't be stupid. I'm stupid, but you're stupid for being stupid.
Well, Mitch, you say that because it's funny because being here in Seattle for over 20 years, that's kind of how hockey was here. Like never talked about. No one ever acknowledged it in sports or whatever. It was just like. Why do you? Because there's no team. So it's a trip as a hockey fan right now to see how much coverage and how much love the Kraken are getting. I'm loving every second of this. Yeah.
Good for them. Well, I mean, people, it's different. I think it was different here than where I was because they had the Vancouver Canucks and people would drive up to see the Vancouver Canucks. And then I felt like everything changed when the Olympics, when the Winter Olympics came to Canada, to Vancouver. And I sensed in Seattle a real surge for hockey interest. That was the first time I ever sensed it. Maybe it was there and you would tell me it was there all along, but that's the first time I really kind of went, whoa, maybe hockey could work in Seattle.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that one, but I think just the influx of all the transplants that had hockey. Now we're all in the town, and all of a sudden you realize it's like we all are here and we love hockey. We should have a hockey team, and now we do. It's awesome.
And of course, this is all putting off the inevitable. This conversation is putting off the inevitable. Oh, Mitch. There's a question that one of our listeners has that we will get to. I just got to remember it. So somebody remind me to get to the listener question from Chris. From Chris S, who wants to get your opinion on something, Mitch. But let's Mitch. Tell us why we should not be panicking. Tell us why we should not think this might be the worst season we've seen in a while. Tell us why we might not be the greatest division in football because of us. We were sitting there going, we have the greatest division in football, thinking that we were the reason we were. We may not be the reason why our division's the toughest division in football.
Well, first of all, that theory is flawed. I don't know that we were sitting here thinking we were the best division in football because of the Seattle Seahawks. I think we were the best. I think the biggest reason that everybody was saying the NFC West was the best division was the Los Angeles Rams. Mm-hmm. And they last night went out and showed the world that with Matthew Stafford as the quarterback and not the guy that they got rid of, Jared Goff, who ended up in Detroit, and that defense and those players on offense, those skill position players, that they're the best team in the West, and they are the best team in the West, and maybe the best team in the NFC. So you start with the Rams on the divisional thing. To go back to your first question, you kind of asked 3 questions there.
I sure did, buddy.
BJ.
I set you up for the whole segment because you know what?
It's early in the morning.
I'm a big hockey fan.
7:23 in the morning. The first question you asked is, tell us why, or you challenged me to say, tell us why this is not going to be one of the worst seasons in recent history for the Seattle Seahawks, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a very simple answer to that, unless somebody gets hurt. When you've got number 3, and you've got number 14, and you've got number 16, and you've got number 32 at the skill position, the NFL is still all about offense in 2021. You have a puncher's chance. I don't know if you were a fan of boxing when you were a kid. There was always that heavyweight, not like Muhammad Ali or George Foreman or Joe Frazier. There was always the fringe heavyweight who had the big punch and he would knock guys out. He came in and you always had to respect him, like Ron Lyle. You always had to respect him because he could throw that haymaker, right? He had the one big punch that could knock you out at any time. They always will have a chance unless 1 or 2 of those guys get hurt. As long as they've got Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, they will have a chance in every single game. But what you saw yesterday is something that we've been talking about on Unfiltered, and I know, BJ, you listen religiously.
Oh, my God. Episode 160, right? It's 160
right.
In the house.
We've been talking about it all off season. They ran into a team yesterday, and they ran into a team a week ago that has great receivers and a good quarterback. A lot of people like to take a poop on Kirk Cousins, but I think he's much better than people give him credit for. And the Seahawks, as built, there was no question coming into the year what their weakness was. And that's the cornerback position, not quarterback, cornerback position, coverage guys. And it's a very interesting story how we got to where we are, but that's their weakness, and they're gonna struggle with teams that can throw the ball all year, and they ran into one yesterday.
So how did we get to where we are then? You said that.
We also struggle with teams that can have who can run the ball. I think we just struggle against teams.
Well, yesterday you struggled with teams that could run the ball. Yesterday, the backup running back had over 120 yards, and yes, it was a total calamity.
I mean,
from
Mitch,
a
think about
perspective.
it. But think about it. If we can't stop teams that run the ball, and we can't stop teams that throw the ball, I feel like we just can't stop teams.
Well, yesterday you couldn't stop a team that ran the ball.
Well, don't forget against the Titans, we couldn't either.
Yes, but I think they have a chance. They've got good front 7 people. They had some guys out. They lost another guy with a concussion yesterday. I don't think they'll be great at stopping the run, but I think they'll be okay. They'll be serviceable at stopping the run. Where they're going to have a problem all year is in pass defense, and Steve asks a very poignant and interesting question. How did we get here? And I think it's a very interesting. It's a little bit of a lengthy one, but there's different layers to this. How we got here, and you start with the fact that ever since Schneider and Carroll drafted that group with Richard Sherman and Byron Maxwell and Cam Chancellor. You remember that crew? They called them the Legion of Boom. They drafted all those guys, right? They hit on all those guys. They hit on Earl Thomas early in the draft. Cam Chancellor was late in the draft. Byron Maxwell was middle of the draft. Richard Sherman was late. They hit on all those guys. The truth of the matter is, the ugly truth, is that with a few exceptions, the first layer of this, with few exceptions, the drafting of John Schneider and Pete Carroll in recent years has been awful. They've hit on very few players. They have not been able to get the reinforcement of younger talent in here, and especially at that position. So that's layer one. Layer two is really, since those guys, the only guy that they kind of hit on in the draft, and I say kind of because he was good, not great. He wasn't Sherman, Thomas, or Chancellor, but he was good, not great. The only guy that they kind of hit on since that group was a guy named Shaq Griffin. You remember Shaq Griffin?
Oh, yeah.
They drafted him in the second round. I think it was the second round out of Central Florida. You remember his brother and his brother's story, his twin brother's story. Mm-hmm. He came here, and I would say he was a good corner. He was a top 20 or 25 corner in the National Football League. Not great, but good and the best that they have. And so now what happens in the NFL and in all sports is when these guys become free agents, the good players are the real toughies because the good players, there's always overpaying in free agency, right? These good players will ultimately get a contract offer as a great player. And then you as an organization have to decide, are we going to overpay that guy in the salary cap era to keep him, or are we just going to let him go? So Shaq Griffin, who was their best corner, but not a great one, he was their best corner, but not a great one, he becomes a free agent last year after last year's season. The Jacksonville Jaguars come in, and this is why teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars are never any good. They come in and they give him a contract offer that makes him one of the highest 2 or 3 paid corners in the league, and yet he's one of the top 20 best corners. So now Schneider and Carroll have to decide. Do we match that and offer him more and bring him back or not? They, I think, made the right choice. They let him go. You got to let him go because if you overpay guys like that, then you get in big trouble with the salary cap and you can't fill the other position. So they let Shaq Griffin go. Here's the problem. Now what do? Now your best corner has left. It's on your shoulders to figure out, okay, who are the starting corners? And what they did was they decided that they liked this guy, DJ Reed, from last year, who they got off the scrap heap. They got him off the scrap heap for a reason, but he played well. He played well last year. Now they go, and you remember they got a guy named Ahkello Witherspoon. They do their scouting. They find out who's available. Who can we bring in to replace Shaq Griffin? They bring in Ahkello Witherspoon from San Francisco, correct? He comes in. He's a flop. They pay him $4 million. He's a flop. He's such a flop that they get rid of him before opening day. He was starting the entire preseason. They get rid of him before opening day. They draft a guy in like the 4th or 5th round named Trey Brown out of Oklahoma. He's not playing yet. So now where are you? You've
Trey
let
Flowers,
your best
baby.
corner go. You've got Trey Flowers and you've got DJ Reed and you've got a huge problem at corner. And now one more layer. I know I went too long, but one more layer. They've decided to pay a safety, the greatest safety money in the history of the NFL, Jamal Adams. And we love Jamal Adams, don't we, BJ? When he blitzes the quarterback,
when he's
the quarterback,
when he's doing what he does, yes.
But what have they always said about Jamal Adams?
I don't remember this.
Said?
I have a
They've
short memory.
always said he's not a great coverage safety. He's a blitzer. He's a guy who comes up in the running game. He gets after the team's quarterback. So now add that layer in. Now you've got an all-pro safety who's not a good coverage safety. You've got 2 questionable corners because the one corner has left the building and gone to Jacksonville, and you're stuck. And you've misevaluated that position for years and years. You're stuck. And that's where the Seahawks are. They are stuck. They've got 2 lousy corners. They've got a great safety who's not a good coverage safety, and they're stuck. And when they run up against teams that have the receivers that the Vikings have and a competent quarterback, it's going to be a problem. They're going to either have to outscore them or they're going to lose.
Oh, wow.
And they weren't able to outscore Tennessee, and they weren't able to outscore the Vikings.
So a competent quarterback by the name of Matthew Stafford and great receiver like Cooper Kupp.
Robert Woods. Yes.
Yeah,
So go Kraken. Go Kraken, right, guys?
Mitch, I want to throw this out.
No, but hold on, BJ.
Well, I want to plug you. I just want to make sure, Mitch, as it were. New episode out today, Mitch Unfiltered. Wherever you get podcasts, we want to, because Mitch, we love you coming on, but we want to make sure that people know, that they can find you for extended stuff. Anywhere you get podcasts or MitchUnfiltered.com. All right, Mitch Levy, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I know I've painted kind of a let's go Kraken, let's talk about some other teams. Remember, not every team that they play is going to have the wide receivers that the Vikings have in the pass game that the Vikings have. They're going to play 6, 7, 8 teams that can't expose them like they were exposed yesterday. So they can win those games. And then what I said at the beginning, I stand by. There are going to be games where they're going to get exposed like yesterday, but Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett are going to outscore them. And they're going to win 30-27. They're going to beat some teams 34-31 despite having a pass. So I'm not trying to paint a picture where they can't win. They can still win 9. They can still win 10, perhaps. But it's going to be tough against teams that have that type of talent offensively.
Not sure. We have 3 wild cards, so I guess you could probably get in with 10 wins, probably. 9 wins, it's tough to see. Mitch, I want to put to you that this has been a systemic philosophical problem with the Seahawks that, if they had vision, and I think there was a problem with this, is that if you know that your quarterback is going to be your guy, and you're going to pay him whatever you need to pay him to get him to stay, then I think Pete Carroll needs to get away from defense and make his offense almost unstoppable, and just know that the defense is not going to be on the field a lot, and even if they're not as great as other people's defenses, they'll be rested because the offense would be the kind of offense that would stay on the field. They'd have a great running game. That O-line would be able to protect Russell, would be able to open up holes for a running back. We didn't do that. So it's like we don't know what we want to be. I feel like you have to pick. They were lucky when they had the Legion of Boom. They had a competent quarterback that also was mobile, and they weren't paying him anything. And cheap.
Yes.
So they should have seen down the road that wasn't going to be sustainable. And if you want to keep a quarterback and make him your guy like a Tom Brady, then get him everything he needs and forget
BJ,
defense. And
I completely agree with you. But the problem is they've got those guys. They've got the guys you're talking about.
And that's what is that, Mitch? Is that front office? Is that Pete? I mean, because you talk about John Schneider, which we all love, but somebody should step in and go, guys, are we going to be one way or the other? Because this 50-50 stuff is not going to get you to the Super Bowl.
I don't think they're 50. I don't think it's 50-50 stuff. I think the key is, look at the way the offense played in the first half against the Titans and in the first half yesterday against the Vikings. They were the exact offense that you're talking about. They were high-powered, high-octane, could score from any place on the field. They have not been able to put 2 halves together, and there's probably reasons for that. But I think they're in a position to be the offensive team that you think. They just, for whatever reason, slowed down in the second half. And, by the way, it's hard to score when you don't have the ball. Do you know how much they had the ball? They scored 17 in the first half. So they were on their pace for 34. Do you know how much they had the ball in the second half, BJ?
Oh, I know. We don't have a running game, Mitch. As much as people love Chris Carson, I think we do not have a high quality running game. I feel like if we get good yardage, it's because we're playing a team that's not the greatest at defending the run. Not that we have a good running game. I don't think we do.
Disagree.
And that will come out to be.
Disagree.
Yeah, and you and I will disagree on this, and definitely you have the pedigree. But I just am not. I don't really like the O-line. I don't think it's top quality, and I don't think our running game is top quality.
Well, I don't know if the offensive line I won't dispute, and they do have trouble running the ball at times. I think they've got a very good running back who in the first half yesterday was premier. I think he had 80 yards as it turned out on 13 carries or something like that. I think they've got the pieces. The offensive line, clear. Look, the NFL is built in such a way that you're not going to have great players at every position. You're just not, because otherwise the NFL would be boring. They put together a set of rules that allows you to be great in certain areas, and you have to be efficient in the others. And where they were supposed to be efficient, they have not been efficient.
God, a lot of people are texting, and honestly, I became that person last night. I was texting with Danny, and I've never been that person that said this, but I actually got to that point where I'm like, is it time for Pete Carroll to go? And I think a lot of people are texting that as well. I mean, you talk about, everyone's always like, fired Ken Norton, but Pete is been very vocal about being the guy that runs the defense. I mean, yes, you have Ken Norton, but at the end of the day, this is Pete's team. Are we hitting that point where maybe this is that final season for Pete Carroll?
Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I think it's an unfair conversation to have 3 games into the season. I mean, he's a Super Bowl winning coach.
Is it 4 games? Can we wait till 4?
But what about last season where the defense was red rotten for the first half? I think people are frustrated.
But as a whole, they went to the second round of the playoffs or the first round of the playoffs and whatever. I mean, if you're going to playoffs, are you firing coaches who take you to playoffs? That's the first question. A lot of teams don't go to playoffs, Miggsy. They go to the playoffs.
We want Super Bowls, Mitchie.
Yeah, come on.
I know you do. Are you firing? Are you firing coaches for not taking you to the Super Bowl?
Yes.
I think the conversation is a valid one. They have not been good. He has not been good in the last few years. And they, as a group, when I say they, I mean Schneider and Carroll, have been really, really poor in the draft. And that's really, you talk about systemic, you talk about the root of the problem. You've got to draft in the NFL. You've got to bring in guys on the cheap. You just talked about it, BJ. You got to bring in guys on the cheap who perform. And they have not been able to find those guys in years on a consistent basis. So that's where it starts. But I understand the Pete Carroll frustrations. I am not a huge fan, but I think 3 games into a season, they're 1-2. They play the 49ers next week. We got to wrap up, but I see an opportunity. Let's see what happens. Let's play this out a little bit, but be very cognizant of poor corners and poor coverage because this is going to be a problem the entire season.
All right, so I'm saying 9-8. I'm going to doom and gloom it. I'm already making the prediction. I really don't have a lot of hope for this team. 9-8. I think our division. Okay. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I feel like I hope I'm wrong about this. But I really think 9-8, which, Mitch, at 9-8, that's just not good enough.
Not good
enough. It's just not good. It's not good enough. And I think it is a systemic philosophical problem that's got us where we are. And that has to be fixed because they don't have the talent on the field to be a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion.
On defense, definitely not. Definitely not.
And they definitely got good pieces in offense. And, you may be right that they have a better running game than I give it credit for. It's tough. Here it is, 3 games in, Steve. It's tough. I'm done.
Go Kraken, go Mariners, too. How about the Mariners?
And Sounders. 6 games to go.
Yes.
6 games to go. 2 games back. Yep.
I know. I'm feeling better about the Mariners than I am about the Kraken. I mean about the Seahawks, I should say. But anyway, Mitch Unfiltered, we'll have to get to the question that Chris had next week.
Can you tease me? What's the question?
He just wants to know what you think about power rankings. I don't know what he thinks about power rankings. He just wants to know what do you think about power rankings that get released every week?
I'm glad you didn't ask me.
Yeah.
I'm glad we ran out of time.
Yeah.
That's how much I think of power rankings.
I know. I felt like your response would be similar to that. I'm in the same boat, Mitch. I'm like, what is the point? What is the point of power rankings until really maybe the last 4 games of the season? Then maybe power rankings might mean something.
Power rankings.
Yeah, and even then,
play the games on the field. We'll play the games on the field.
Oh, hey, look at this on the field. He wants on the field. All right. Well, anyway, Mitch Unfiltered. Episode 160 is out today at MitchUnfiltered.com or wherever you get podcasts. And Mitch, I'm hoping we have something. Yeah, all right, go Kraken. All right. Oh, what a beating. Hey, here's a question for you. Actually, it's not a question. This is actually a fact. Someone actually paid a ridiculous amount of money for Michael Jordan's underwear. I'll tell you all about this at 7:47 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Here's another listener question. How do I rebuild my credit after filing bankruptcy?
You rebuild it, one creditor at a time by making your payments on time on your rent or your mortgage, by continuing to make car payments on a car that you keep during your case, You can also, as I said, you can almost always get a credit card almost immediately after filing bankruptcy. Sometimes it's a secured card, and it'll almost always have a really high interest rate on it. But you can get a small balance credit card and charge a tank of gas or a dinner once a month on that, and make the payment, pay it off every month, and that'll help you build a credit history one creditor at a time, and will help you rebuild your credit over time.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at ChooseTheRightChapter.com. That's ChooseTheRightChapter.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at WeConsiderWA.org.
Kickstart summer at Lowe's with Memorial Day savings on major appliances like the Smart Whirlpool Top Load Washer, featuring the 2-in-1 removable agitator in a color you'll only find at Lowe's. Take it out for bulky items, leave it in for a more thorough clean. You can customize any load, plus skip steps with the Load and Go dispenser. Simply add detergent once and skip the refills. Memorial Day savings start now at Lowe's. Shop in-store or online today.
Take the next step toward the career you want, be it business, cybersecurity, healthcare, or more. UMGC can help you get there. No application fee when you apply by August 31st. Visit umgc.edu, certified to operate by Chev.